once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you in part by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside former University of Miami captain and team center Don Bailey Jr. We are all smiles this week. It's a glorious week for the University of Miami, coming off a tremendous, classic 24-20 victory over Florida State.
Joe, I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for everybody that's a part of the Hurricane family, because it was a 7-year drought and it was getting quite tiresome. But the University of Miami went up there. Their fans traveled well, but this football team hung together for 60 minutes. All phases of it. You had unsung heroes. You had people that you never really even knew their names that had a big part in this victory.
This win over the Noles puts Miami in good shape, but from a program standpoint, what do you think the impact is?
Well, I think it's never ending. I mean, this proves so many different things. It proves that Miami is a factor in the state of Florida again. It certainly proves that this football team has come 1,000 miles since Mark Richt took over as head coach. It proves that there's no quit. It proves that young guys and old guys and everybody's going to get a chance to play and help win.
And oh, while we're celebrating, here comes good old Georgia Tech saying, hey, how about us? We're going to be a factor. And you cannot win the Coastal Division without beating Georgia Tech. They're undefeated inside the conference. And, of course, they run that triple option. So this is going to be a tough one for Miami.
It's going to be very tough, but the fact of the matter is they're going to require a lot of focus. You know, Miami's defense is going to have to understand how to play this offense. It's going to require film study, and maybe that gets your mind off of what you just accomplished with the big task in front of you.
Okay, it's Miami and Georgia Tech on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium, 3:30. Tickets do remain, so we'd love to see a great crowd out there for the Hurricanes and Georgia Tech. Right now, let's go back to last week, Miami and Florida State. Our highlights brought to you by UF Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Rozier waits for the snap. Will go up top on first down. Looking, throwing, end zone. Berrios, get in there! Touchdown, Miami! Berrios, a 21-yard reception, and Miami is on the board. Miami rushes four. Blackman fires. It's intercepted, and he hold on to it. Michael Jackson has it for an interception for the University of Miami. The first turnover of the game. Into the bench with a turnover chain, and Miami will have 1 minute and 4 seconds to go here in the second quarter to make something happen. Florida State 13, Miami 10. Going to throw for it. End zone. It is caught! Touchdown, Braxton Berrios! Looks right. Chasing and Blackman throws on the run, far side, intercepted by D. Delaney at midfield far sideline, and Delaney's brought down at the Florida State 45-yard line. Change trail by 3. Snap, Rozier throws, Langham, he's got it, into the end zone, touchdown! It's a touchdown! It's a touchdown! Darrell Langham at the pylon on the right side of the end zone, 23 magical yards! Miami has the lead with 6 seconds to go in the game. There's pandemonium at the Dome.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and my broadcast partner, former University of Miami center, team captain Don Bailey Jr., of course, the head coach, Mark Richt, and we have lots of smiles today as the University of Miami ended the 7-year curse, I called it. Coach, congratulations on the victory over Florida State.
Thank you. It was great. It's over, but it was great.
Coach, when you go back to that game, I want to talk about a few things before we dive into it. First of all, the fans, and then your conditioning and nutrition group that got them Miami ready after Irma to go on and take on an opponent like that.
Right. Well, the fans have been great, and I'm very happy for our fans. You know, that's a long time not to win against your rival team, and that's the number one question that I've heard since I've had the job is, you know, when are you going to beat Florida State? Coach, you got to beat Florida State. You know, are you going to beat Florida State? I mean, it's just nonstop, you know, and I don't blame him. I guess Barrows said it best. It's inexcusable to have that many in a row that you lose. So that was huge, and it was great for our fans and in general, and the fans that were at the game in particular were awesome. I mean, pregame warm-up, they were loud and proud, and they were kicking butt, to be honest with you, pregame warm-up when it came to cheering and being loud and making their presence known. And I mean, our guys felt them being there. We did as a staff, and it was very meaningful for them to be there and cheer us on, and then to be able to stick around at the end of the game and say it's great to be a Miami Hurricane together with the players and the fans was big.
There are so many aspects of this game, I'm not even sure where to start, but a 31-point fourth quarter. But let's just go with this. For the program, for you, because you're still building this program, what is the impact for this team beating Florida State and winning that kind of game?
Well, first of all, in conference play, you got to win. The best record wins and goes to Charlotte. And, you know, we've never represented the ACC Coastal Division in an ACC championship game. And so everybody wants to be a part of that. These seniors want to be a part of that. It's their last shot at it. But also to win a game where it comes down to the wire and everybody needs each other, it's huge. I mean, the defense obviously played great early, and the offense played great late. And without those things happening, we don't win the game. The offense at the end, with 6:55 to go, we need a game-winning score because we're down. And then the next time we get the ball, we need another game-winning drive because we need to put it in the end zone again. So the last two drives of the game, 75 yards each, and putting it in the end zone in the end when we absolutely had to have it back-to-back was huge. But we never would have been in that position if the defense didn't play the way they did in the first half. It could have been a runaway if our defense wasn't stoning them early on.
Two more questions on that. One, you could see you telling Malik, be smart, be smart.
Yeah.
Right? So you guys were
well, we're in field goal range, and field goal ties the game. Got 11 seconds to go.
Right.
I mean, I'd call timeout if we get a sack, but I'd prefer not to have a sack. You know, the devastating thing would have been a pick. That was the devastating thing. You know, offensive pass interference, that have moved us back. It wouldn't, you know, we still can make it because I think we were close enough. Sack, not good. Sack and a fumble, game over. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I wanted the ball either in the end zone or incomplete. I wanted the ball in the end zone or incomplete. And we didn't quite make it to the end zone when we caught the ball, but thankfully we got it in the end zone. And then, of course, all the drama of is it in, is it not? Right. We got to learn how to celebrate properly. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the turnover chain. You know, you can't pop your helmet off at midfield when you want to put the chain on. That's a penalty. You know, and even though it looked like the streak is over possibly and everybody's having that type of emotion, you can't have it out in the middle of the field, you know. And so we get this 15-yard penalty, and I think most of the fans know by now, if they decided we were 4 inches short, that ball, it'd have been the next down at 16 yards from the goal line because that penalty would have been at the end of that play. So it would not have been, you know, this far to go. It'd have been 16 yards to go. And if that was the case, we were going to go right to kicking a field goal with 6 seconds to go, even though we had a timeout.
All right, we'll come back with University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Still to come, we'll talk a lot about Georgia Tech. 3:30 kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium. Want to see a great crowd there for Miami and Georgia Tech, and we'll continue with the coach right after this. Happy to welcome you back to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr., University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Travis Homer, coach, did play a significant role for you late, and looks like with the Mark Walton injury, he's going to play a more significant role for you.
Well, he's played a significant role on offense, but also on special teams. I mentioned before, he's a starter on the big four: punt, return, kick, return. And, you know, he'll probably have to withdraw a little bit of the special teams work because he'll carry a heavier load as the lead running back. But that means someone else has got to step up. And, you know, let's talk about Mark Walton a second and what he's done for this team. You know, a year ago, MVP of the team last season, a catalyst in his ability to run the ball, run routes, pass block, cover kicks, all those things, but a catalyst every day in practice, every day in workouts, enthusiasm, love for the game, love for his team. The spirit that he brought to the team was big. Who's going to pick up the slack there, Who's going to pick up the slack on the special teams where Homer has to come off of a little bit, and then someone's got to get more. Young guys usually got to step up. And we tell those guys, you never know. You think you're third string, guess what? You're going to be first string by the end of the game, let alone by the end of the season. So you better be getting your mind right. And I guess Langham is one of the better examples. He probably was third team going into the game. And here he is being called on to help win the ball game on the very last offensive snap of the game. And so there's a lot to be, there's some big shoes to be filled with Walton, but I think Homer has really become an outstanding back, just an amazing guy, and we think he's ready for the challenge.
We have to talk about your defense here in a second.
Please.
I did want to ask you this, and we talked about it last week. I asked you last week, you won 8 in a row. What was the common denominator? But now you've won 9 in a row, and I was thinking about it this way. You've won 9 in a row, and you were brought in here, took this job to kind of rebuild this thing, and it's still very early in that construction process.
Right.
9 in a row, who knows where it goes, but what does it say to people that are looking at your program that might want to play here?
Right.
That early in this process, you're able to already develop some kind of winning culture.
Right. Well, I've always said it's tough to beat teams that are used to winning, and we're getting used to winning, and we're beginning to get the characteristics of a winning team. Protecting the ball, playing a fast and physical, guys that can make plays. We're still having some more penalties than I'd like, but it's getting better. And there's been a lot of great teams that have been heavily penalized that have had great success. So that's not the number one factor. But we want to be disciplined. We don't want to have a foolish penalty that will change the course of a game because we get a stop on third down and we hit the quarterback late or whatever. But we're getting there. We're getting where we want to be. I think recruits can see Miami is on our way back. And you have to talk in terms of being back because of the great tradition that so many great players and coaches have created. Don being part of it, a national championship team in '83. And it started there with Coach Snellenberger. And then Coach Johnson, Coach Erickson, Coach Coker, all Butch Davis, Coach Davis, all these great men, great coaches and great players. The roll call of great players, we're going to have our Ring of Honor here on Friday, the luncheon. I mean, the 5 inductees to that thing is unbelievable.
NFL Hall of Famers.
NFL, yeah, it's just amazing what has been happening here in the past. So we're trying to get back. And everybody keeps saying, is Miami back? Well, we're not back, but we're trying to get back, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
They showed, your defense showed a great resilience though, right? Because there was
Right.
The field position was not in your favor for a lot of the first half, and they were kind of backed up a little bit. And you mentioned field goals, but they did a good job of keeping it out of the end zone.
They did, and part of why we had the bad field position, Manny made the point that I think they broke the first run of the game.
Right.
Yes.
First run of the game broke out, so they got good field position. They're punting us deep. We're trying to dig out. They're punting us deep. We're trying to dig out. So it just all works together. And but the good news is when they did break out on the runs, not one of them went to the house. We keep getting them on the ground, keep hustling. Do what you got to do to get them on the ground and play one more snap of defense. Force field goals, maybe a turnover. You just never know. But if a guy breaks it out and guys don't hustle or guys don't tackle in space, then they make the house call and the place goes crazy and it's tough to win.
Well, we'll talk about Georgia Tech in the next segment, but you touched on it before. We have the Ring of Honor ceremony on Friday. Those players are going to be and will be honored on Saturday, plus John Taylor as well. It's a great win coming off of Florida State. This would be a great chance for Hurricane fans to help a little bit, because this is a game where you're going to need a lot of emotion.
Right. Well, I can't imagine our fan base not wanting to be at the Cane Walk. I can't imagine our fan base not wanting to be tailgating before the game. I can't imagine our fan base not wanting to be in the stadium loud and proud. Our student body. You know, last time we played a home game, we were coming off the hurricane and nobody was in town. Mm-hmm. But game one, they were, you know, and they did an awesome job. I'm talking about the student body, you know. So I know they'll be there loud and proud, ready to go, hopefully during pregame warm-up, you know, to help make a difference, just like the fans did at Florida State during pregame warm-up. It was awesome to have the vibe of the University of Miami fans raring to go.
All right, we'll come back. One more segment to go with University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Georgia Tech is on deck, a 3:30 kickoff on Saturday. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody, to the Mark Richt Show, brought to you by Williamson Automotive. This week it's Miami and Georgia Tech, a 3:30 kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium. And the Yellow Jackets come in, Coach, very well rested.
They've had a week off, and like you say, their style of ball is a very physical, relentless running of the football right down your throat mentality over and over and over, and then, you know, running speed sweeps and triple option football, and then the passes that come off at the deception when you're selling the farm to stop the run, and then a guy pops out big and they launch it out there for a 60-yarder. I mean, it's what they do. They do it well, and it's going to be an unbelievable challenge for us. It's a tough challenge every time you play them, but coming off an emotional win and them, you know, kind of hanging out there for, you know, 2 weeks preparing, getting well rested, getting strong again, getting fired up and ready to play. It's going to be all we can do to get this victory.
Coach, he's also built a defense over the years. He's continued to improve on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, they really have, and they've done some things schematically, in my opinion, that is helping them defensively. They've changed up their coverages a little bit. It's not the same as it was a year ago, and they're a little bit better at disguising this, disguising that. It's going to be a greater challenge for us to figure out what they're doing and try to, you know, dial up not only the right calls but the right progressions. So I don't know. It's always a very, very difficult task for the defensive team to find a way to slow the thing down, and then offense, that we know we got to take full advantage of every opportunity. We really can't settle for field goals. I mean, we will if we have to, but, you know, we got to get touchdowns when we get in the red zone. 7s compared to 3s in a game like this is huge, because you just don't get that many opportunities.
Well, we are not going to take our eyes off of Georgia Tech. We'll celebrate Florida State for just a couple of more minutes. All of us want to thank you for beating Florida State.
Right. Well, I mean, it's over for me. We've already been studying Georgia Tech and preparing for them, and that's the way it should be. But I don't have any problem with the fans celebrating a little bit longer until the next game, and if that helps you get fired up to show up, that'd be great.
All right, we'll see you next week, and the very best of luck on Saturday against Georgia Tech.
All right, thank you, man.
For University of Miami head coach Mark Richt and Don Bailey Jr., I'm Joe Zgak, and we'll see you next time right here on the Mark Richt Show.